Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in the same spot as usual but with a slightly different topic. Today we're going to talk about how we have gone from being a tech obsessed family to a no screen family. In particular, I'm talking about with my kiddos. So if you are that way inclined and you're curious about how you can either reduce or completely get rid of screens for your little ones, make sure and check out the rest of this video and the associated blog post that I will leave the link to down below. Okay, so a little intro. If this is the first time that you've been here, thank you so much for joining me. I am a mama to 3 little people and hopefully another little one on the way. We are currently on our trying to conceive journey and I've been sharing a little bit about that as well. So if you're curious to see some of my trying to conceive diaries, what I've been doing health-wise, stress-wise, sleep-wise, movement-wise, supplement-wise as a registered nurse, but also as a more holistic, crunchy mama, do make sure and check out those other videos. But today's video is going to be in line with one of my goals as a parent, which is to not only be a more gentle parent, but a more present parent. And as you might have realized, my entire life is online. I make all of my money, I support all of my clients, both through lactation, but also birth and postpartum through the medium of technology, whether that is through social media, with the social media family I have over there, through my YouTube family, or through my Birth Baby Beyond network and that digital hub that I've created over there with courses and e-courses and PDFs and downloadables and things like that. If you haven't checked them out already, do go and have a look if that's the time in life that you are at. But a big part of my life is technology, and it became really important to me that my kids had a beautiful balance between understanding the importance of it and the place where it can be helpful in their lives, and also understanding that in order for kids to be kids, to let them be free in their imaginations, to let them really just play, I needed to make sure that I protected that innocence. And that meant for me certainly avoiding social media. We also do no YouTube Kids. If we do technology, we mostly don't, but we will do like very slow paced, gentle, slow moving shows or some gentle like nature documentaries from like an educational perspective for our homeschooling. So I will make sure and create a little document down below with all of the shows that if we are in a pinch, if we are maybe traveling, we've got some sick kiddos, I need to have a little bit of time to maybe work. This is a very rare opportunity. These are the shows that I have already like screened and like approved for our family. We have, for those of you who are wondering, in particular, I'm thinking about my 4-year-old and 2-year-old, but we also have my bonus daughter, who is my stepdaughter, who is going to be 12 this week, actually. Crazy. I feel like she's just a baby yesterday. So when I'm talking about these shows, I'm mostly thinking about the younger ones, but I can also create a little playlist for older kiddos too, because they are just as important and we need to also protect their innocence while helping them be in the real world, right? That's that balance that makes it all so difficult. You know, we can't pretend that technology doesn't exist, but we want to make sure that it is utilized in a way that is responsible. And it can be educational too. So without further ado, after a really lengthy intro, I'm going to share with you the tips that you can apply today, whether you are a heavy user of technology, whether you have a screen in every room, or whether you just use it every now and then and you would like to rely on it a little less in your parenting days. This is how you can get there. Okay, this is not going to be a nice one for you to hear, but my tip number 1 is to set an example. If your little one is constantly seeing their parent or their significant guardian on their phones, glued to their screen, scrolling mindlessly, constantly listening to something or watching something or having something turned on, they then think that is necessary, that is important, and even more sadly, that might be more important than them. Your child should never have to battle for your attention against a screen. So one of the very first things that I would recommend you do is to just take note of how much screen time you have. Now that you've done that, now that you have maybe set like a little timer on your phone, or if you're like me and you're really anal about it and really like careful about it and really don't like screens, I have my kids minded if I'm on a screen. So if that means me having a little scroll at bedtime when they're asleep, or maybe I've just had a really hard day and I know that I love that dopamine hit of Instagram scrolling or doom scrolling, I'll tell my husband I'm going to go and have what I call a privacy poo, which is like my husband's understanding of like, you know, how husbands will take a 20-minute poo and we think nothing of it. This is my version. I will go upstairs, I will bring my phone with me, I will lay on my bed, and I will just veg out for 10-20 minutes if I can. It's a rare occasion, mostly I do it when they're asleep, but it's something that means then that when I am looking at a phone and totally engrossed, that my kids aren't seeing that they are less than, that they're somehow less important than that. So that is really important for me. And when I film, when I'm editing, when I'm on my laptop, I do all of that when they're asleep. So that's something that is worthwhile considering. I have a really cute, actually I think it's free on my phone, where it's like, it actually takes note of how many hours you spend on your phone. And I think initially when I started doing this for me, because I noticed how my kids were like my baby in particular would wake up and hand me my phone because he knew that was important to me. And I didn't like that. So when I started downloading this tracker, I could like break down where exactly I was spending my time, how much time I was spending online, where I was spending it, and then be able to like curate and cull that appropriately. So that would be step number 1, take note of yourself. The next thing would be, if you are utilizing screens for your kids, looking at the why. Are you sticking your kids in front of a screen because you need some downtime? If so, can we create downtime or quiet time for mom during the day? This is something I've been doing recently, which sounds so ridiculous from the outset, but I will actually like make a big deal of it. I will make a pot of tea, like kids like herbal tea or fruity tea, and they can put their own honey in, and they can like have little tea cups and saucers, and we all have a cup of tea. I light my candle, and then I will take out my book and sit down on the sofa and set a timer. The timer started with like 2 minutes, and I would maybe only read a page. And now I can get like 20 to 30 minutes of mumma time, so that I can regulate myself and take a moment and a breath during the day, during a heavy parenting day, so that I no longer rely on screens in that way for a break for me. The other time when you might use screens would be to get something done. So if you need to maybe wash the dishes, maybe you need to cook dinner. I've heard so many mamas say, but like, how do you get anything done? And for me, a huge part of this was implementing some of those ideas so that my kids can play independently. I would also always create a space where anything that I'm doing, they are welcomed into and invited into if they so wish. So for instance, if I'm cooking dinner, my feet are actually sitting on them in a funny way. If I am cooking dinner, we have a stander there. So our kids, any one of them can come up at any point to just join us. And I welcome them in that, because I want my kids to be able to see what mama does, to have a sense of gratitude for the work that I do in our home, but also to be able to have those skills when they grow up into their own little humans, to be able to cook and clean and mind a home as best as they can. So for me, when I had set those tools for independent play, we had worked on that skill set, and with the invitation for them to join me in whatever chore or household duty that I'm doing, like 99% of the time they will either want to join in or go off in independent play. So check out the independent play video that I have, that I'll maybe link down below, because that might be really helpful for you. But in that scenario, it meant that all of the things that I was doing, yes, maybe they would take a bit longer, but it wasn't something that I was no longer unable to do completely without screen time, because I had created different expectations for myself there. The other thing that's worthwhile mentioning as well is that even though we are a no screen family, we do a lot of reading. We will have book reading time every single day for a minimum of a half an hour. So for us, for our family, the pictures in books are screens. My kids get so pumped to go to the library, and we will go to the library once a week and bring a proper like suitcase of books home with us. We have a bookshelf where they are front facing so they can see all of the names on the books, the pictures on the books, and pick out whichever one they're into. We also have the space set up so that it is conducive for book reading. So in our play area, our playroom, there's like a full-sized 3-seated sofa in there. We also have a hammock in there and some cute little like toadstool seats so that our kids can sit down comfortably and read a book at any point during the day. The other thing is that even though we don't do screens, we do still do podcasts. So if we are having just like a moment where everyone is having a meltdown, everyone is like overtired, overstimulated, maybe they're all hungry at the same time, and I do just need a minute and nobody wants to independent play or join me, I will put up a podcast on the TV screen. So we do have a TV. On the TV screen, snuggle up the boys with a cozy blanket and their teddies, listening to a story. And this is something that you can make it as fancy as you want. A lot of families have those little like Tony boxes. There's also ones like the Yoto where you can get like a card that you put in instead of the figurine, so they can actually have the autonomy of choosing the story they want to listen to. But for my kids, I will just put it on for them. Sometimes they don't like it and that's okay, but I don't tend to give them heaps of choice, because then generally, because I'll do it from my phone, they'll see the phone and then they'll want to just scroll and look through all the pictures on the phone. So I will do it from another room and then like project the story or the audio up onto the screen. I had other ideas. Let me get back to you. Okay, so I've actually written down my last few tips. The second to last one was regarding the toys that my kids have access to. And I think what was really important in that independent play video, and one of them that I hope that you all take a little bit like a nugget of wisdom from, is to seek out your children. Our kids require stimulation, engagement, and to be occupied in that way when they are seeking something. Generally, a lot of that is reconnection, or a lot of that can be fixed or met with reconnection. So for me, I will seek out my kids ahead of them seeking me out. So that means if my little one is like sitting down on the sofa reading a book, instead of going, okay, great, like they're reading a book, I'm just gonna leave them, or they're playing blocks, I'm just gonna leave them. Sometimes I will just sit down beside them and like rub their back and just acknowledge what they're doing. Sometimes if I haven't seen my little one in a while, I will just scoop them up and give them like the biggest hug. I find that making moments for reconnection during the day fills up their love cup enough so that I'm not then waiting for them to crumble in order to seek me out, and then me be at a point in the day where that no longer works for me. So when I have capacity to seek out my kids, I make a point of doing that. The next thing that I think I also mentioned in that video is the importance of open-ended toys for independent play. So when you're thinking like, whoa, like what do my kids do when they're not on a screen? And if you are one of those families where you maybe have like a TV in the sitting room and like a screen in the kitchen and like one in the bedroom, and you've maybe got music going in here, and maybe you've got the phone in here and the laptop is on over here, try and designate screen-free zones as a starting point. Maybe the kitchen and the playroom are screen-free zones. You only have a screen in the sitting room. Maybe you only get like a bedtime show. Maybe you only get one particular area, and that goes for phones, iPads, laptops, anything that's also movable. So try and designate those spaces accordingly. And then the next thing regarding independent play is looking at toys that have more than one function. So for us, we almost exclusively have open-ended toys. So we're talking about things like Play-Doh, like Legos, like blocks, like magnetiles, things that can be used for one function other than, I'm thinking of these like kiddos toys where you press a button and it makes a sound and that's all it does. So as you can imagine, for those kids who are seeking stimulation, they're looking for engagement and they're looking to play, they press the button, they get the response that's been automated, and then that's it. Those kids are going to get bored quite easily. That's not allowing for imagination, for space, for real play. So look at either rejigging your play area where you can encourage more of that open-ended play to make it more appealing, or maybe it's just a case of offering them opportunity to utilize their own imaginations. So sitting down with them and playing with the blocks, showing them the different ways that they can use them. You can build towers, you can build a city, you can build a road, you can build a bridge for your car to go under, and showing them some of the opportunities and then playing with them initially, offering that opportunity for engagement, and then slowly withdrawing can be a really helpful way of doing that. I hope that this video gives you some kind of an idea. I will share that free list of shows that are slow paced and a little more gentle down below. I would also recommend joining the No or Low Screens Facebook group. I found some really fantastic ideas, and actually this is where I got the majority of these show ideas from. I'll leave the link to that Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group, but you can request to join it down below. But it's been really helpful for me and a lovely resource to know that I'm not on my own in parenting this way. And while I didn't go ahead and talk about some of the benefits of having less screens and less technology in our home, for me, and I talk about this with my friends all the time, they joke and they call me the Snow White parent. And I'm like, no, it's made my kids so much more regulated, so much more calm. We have less meltdowns throughout the day. There is less battling to have those, daily activities done. So my kids getting dressed is not so much of a battle anymore. My kids having their breakfast is not so much of a battle anymore. They have ways that they can regulate themselves. I have ways that I can regulate myself and give as an example to them. And it's been better for me as a parent to know that technology is not the be-all and end-all. And while I certainly love technology, I love the fact that I can support my mummas worldwide, literally from anywhere, from the comfort of their own home, that they don't even have to get out of their pajamas and they can still get the support that they need and deserve, is awesome. But I don't think my kids need that. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure and check out the associated or the LinkedIn blog post for this video. And if you have any ideas on this topic, let me know. I'll keep the comments